Palworld has taken the internet by storm, looking like Pokemon but playing like Ark. It's an open-world crafting and survival game with RPG elements, monster taming, and guns? The game released in early access but has already sold over 8 million copies. I've sunk over 30 hours into this game and I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts. This video will be separated into sections that you can go back to or skip ahead to at your own leisure. Now let's go! Okay, so let's just rip the band-aid off right now. These aren't Pokemon. You know, Pokemon are sentient creatures with a level of consciousness that allows them to understand human language and most of the time consent to battling alongside their trainer. These are pals. You can eat the pals. They're more like wild animals, you know, violent creatures that just live in this world, right? They will eat humans, just like they will eat each other, and you will eat them if you play this game. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay. The general gameplay loop is to survive/explore, gather resources, and progress yourself, your team, and your base. Surviving does mean eating the pals, but that's okay because this world doesn't present like they're these happy little creatures. Yes, the art style is like they're happy little creatures, but they are still wild, violent animals. Survival also means temperature management and building better and better armor. Gathering resources should feel familiar to anyone who's played any kind of open world survival game in recent times. You're gonna punch a tree, you're gonna build a pickaxe and an axe, you're gonna, gather wood, you're gonna mine from a rock, and you're gonna loot a couple of chests. Par for the course. But as you progress, you're gonna level up and learn these technologies that make the game easier for you. Progressing your team is a lot more like Pokemon. You're gonna be breeding for better traits, condensing them down as if you were giving them candies in Pokemon Go, and just generally leveling them up as you go. Lastly, as you progress your base, you're going to be able to automate the grind for materials. Next, let's talk about controls. I can't speak for people that are playing on Xbox or Game Pass, but when I'm playing on Steam, I don't particularly love that the control button is the dodge roll button. I guess I can't think of what button would better serve that purpose, but it still doesn't feel very good. There's also a lot of times where I don't know if I'm supposed to use Q or E, or 1 and 3, or the scroll wheel in order to navigate a menu. Next time I might try to use a controller. My overall experience of the gameplay has been mostly good, though I don't love coming back to the base and half my pals are incapacitated due to poor pathfinding or poor rendering or whatever's going on there. You know, honestly, whenever you get close to the base or warp back there, you should just be able to press a button if, people are like floating in the sky or stuck behind a rock or something. Or it should happen automatically. Just when you get close to the base or warp back there, they just automatically respawn out of the PAL box so that there's no issues. Just an idea. I also didn't love my weapons randomly disappearing from my inventory after using a crafting bench. I don't know what would cause that type of glitch, but I'm sorry to anyone that it happened to. Next, let's talk about the big one. The one that everyone's been waiting for. The graphics, the performance, and the art style. Because everyone's going to be making the comparisons between this game and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Switch. The graphics are fairly impressive for a game that just released in early access. If you have a mid-range PC from the past 3 years or so, this game should run on medium to high settings easily, and it will look pretty good. Now, I haven't done my research, and I know a lot of people are claiming AI or that they're using the in-game assets from the Pokemon games, but, how many different ways can you change a sheep before you no longer recognize it as a sheep? If I were to look at it musically, Lamball and Wooloo are the same chord progression, and no one can really own a chord progression the same way no one can really own the copyright of, a sheep. They can copyright the design of a sheep, but they can't copyright the idea of a sheep. And Lamball and Wooloo are, the same chord progression, just a regular sheep, but the intricate designs that make that sheet are the melody or the lyrics that go over that chord progression. That's the way I'm making the comparison. I honestly compared them that way for a shameless plug. I have a music channel, it's in the description. I recently made a Pokemon battle theme for Paradox Mew 0 and Iron Mew 3. If you're a Pokemon fan, I'm sure you'd enjoy it, so what are you waiting for? Go check it out. And as stale as some fans have been recently, I hope that this is the competition that the Pokemon Company needed to just perform better, to be better. The game's soundtrack, when it's there, is awesome, but usually when you're out in areas and it's just, birds and nature, so many games have replicated this from Breath of the Wild because it's like an ambient thing, but before Breath of the Wild, Zelda had ambient tracks for all its locations, and I feel like that's something that's sorely missed from video games nowadays. So yeah, the soundtrack is pretty good, and the sound design is pretty good. I appreciate all the different noises that the creatures make, and, the songs that I have heard are very good, but I just wish that there was just more overworld themes. I don't know if there's a story. There probably is a story in the game, but I'm not gonna lie, I have not been reading those Castaway journals. I might look into that after I've collected a good number of them, but I don't think the developers are too concerned about a story either. You don't see anything about a story in the trailers, right? I think it's kind of an afterthought, but in fairness, a lot of great games do that. The Mario games, they always work on the mechanics first and the story later. So for it being in early access, I'm not really worried about if it has a story right now or not. Is it fun? Yeah, it's very fun. It's pretty addicting, actually. I forget about the passage of time, and I forget that my body has functions and needs, like using the bathroom or needing to eat food. So yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty addicting. Do I think it'll last? Yeah, it'll probably last a hot minute. It really depends on how the developers decide to roll out updates. Are they going to add more pals? Are they going to add, things that make the performance better? Are they going to add more areas to explore? It depends on if the developers are willing to put in the work in a timely manner. So yeah, if you haven't played this game, I would highly recommend you get it. It's very fun, very addicting. It's a pretty decent addition to the survival and crafting genre as well as the monster taming genre. They definitely need to work out the kinks for, how the pals operate at the base. And just random glitches where you're losing your weapon or something. But other than that, it is in early access, so I can't really fault it too much. I did pay for an incomplete product, but I knew that up front when I bought it. I don't know that when I buy a Pokemon game. I'm just gonna leave that there. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you like this type of content, think about subscribing. And yeah, let me know in the comments how you think Palworld needs to be sued by the Pokemon Company. Y'all have a good day.